Yeah. Let's go. Open your eyes, if you look really hard, you can clearly see. Ain't nothing really changed, everything's still the same except the minds are weak. But we gon' keep this fight going. I'm a rider, all knowing, give strength to be heroic and fix whatever's broken in the world. Gotta notice that we're dealing with opponents who know they were the closest thing to God. They've been trying to get rid of me, they still give us iniquity. Disregard our history, and my story is misery. Castrated, hung, shot, and bitten by dogs. It's written on walls, I wasn't also king of them all. Think like the resistance. Nat Turner, Denmark, VC with a vengeance. Ready to end shit while I'm looking for equality. Racism follows me, slaves started these companies. Now they wanna give apologies, it bothers me. Churches won't fight cause of their policies. Tax-free robbery, government sodomy. Look where our ways went, Sharpton's an agent. Jesse was taking pain, this crack was bought in by Reagan. Our holidays are pagan, involved in gaming. With God's creation and our talents are being wasted. Caught up in the matrix, your body's like the slave ships while our minds take trips. I can't take this, I hate this. Open your eyes, if you look really hard, you can clearly see.
Greetings, family. Welcome to another edition of BABATV, Every Time Fire. And it's my absolute honor and privilege to be in the presence of this master teacher, elder, and craftsman. We all know him as Baba Heru, and it's been a couple years since I've been to the studio of Ptah, and he's been on my mind for a minute now. So I wanted to come pay homage to this great elder of ours in the community who has serviced us with craftsmanship that is unbelievable. The few pieces that I've bought from him probably over 20 years ago, and people in the grocery store and wherever I go, all kinds of people, Europeans, Asians, they look down at my hand whenever I have anything that this brother made. And where did you get that? I never be able to find it. And I say in my mind, you never will. There'll never be another individual on the earth. I don't care how good they claim to be. I've been to so many festivals where you see craftsmanship, but you'll never find anything like this right here. And I'm just so privileged, and we should be honored that we have such a jewel in our community, such as this brother right here who has made jewelry for Brother Wesley Snipes, several of our entertainers, Brandy, Erica Badu, and just very well known, but yet and still our people really need to come down here and see what this brother has to offer us, because it's for you, family. He does this for you, and never be afraid of beauty. A sister told me earlier today in here, and it just rang true with me. You know, never be afraid of beauty, and the cost is nothing in comparison to the work that he puts in to these magnificent jewels, or sa, as we call it, as sa. Okay. Yes, sir. So I don't want to talk too much. I would just want how you doing, my beloved Baba Heru, and just talk to the people, sir.
I'll give thanks and praise. Anka ma'at, good people. Beautiful, beautiful Kamurian people. That's what I call us now, Kamur. You know, Kamur is one of the names of Asa. Neb Kamur means Lord of the Perfect Dark, you know, and which refers to the solar complexion, this ebony to gold complexion we all carry. We are happy to be able to serve our people with these emblems of culture. You know, I've always said that our body is the temple of the Most High. And what we put on our body says a lot about how we feel about ourselves. I see a lot of us are now into the trend of grunge, that grunge look that we used to have in the 60s with the hippies, whatnot, with holes in their jeans, and now all of us are pretending to be so spending $300 for some torn up jeans. I think it's ridiculous, but hey, that's where we are now. And so I've always said that this body being so precious, we should put things in it that has meaning and significance. And also that we should employ our brothers and sisters who are tailors and seamstresses, craftspeople of all kinds. And even in our homes, what we put on our walls, it should reflect a pride in who we are as a people. Never mind the lies that have been told about our people, about Tarzan being the king of the jungle and all this kind of nonsense that makes us afraid to claim our ancient culture. But my work has been to bring forth these emblems of our culture in silver, brass, gold. I used to do a lot of copper, but I found that copper was very toxic. It smokes up a lot, so I stopped doing copper. But I still have the largest collection of wedding bands and engagement rings for our people, that when you get married, you want to have something on your finger that also adds to the union you are forming with your mate, that reminds you of your commitment to each other and reminds you of your commitment to marry your culture too, because a lot of us have been divorced from our ancient culture. I know many of us claim we have been stripped, but the fact is, what we know about ourselves is still in us. It's in our DNA, and it can be activated. And one of the reasons why I do what I do is because these emblems of our culture are instant teachers. You don't even have to open your mouth. What it does, it helps to tap into the ancestral and hereditary memory of those forgetting ones, the ones who've chosen to forget and don't want to know, and are turned off by their ancient culture. A lot of them are denying their Africanity, and by so doing, you're denying your mother. And anyone who does not respect their mother is in for a hard time. So I want to encourage my brothers and sisters, and I know nowadays a lot of us are scared to wear what we call bling. Now they're calling it drip. All these names we have but our legacy is more than drip. If you want to drip, be dripped in the gold and be dripped in the legacy of your ancient culture. And so the things I make have a meaning, and that's why I encourage my brothers and sisters to come and see. Because I've got so much stuff that I've done over the years that I could not possibly put everything on Instagram or Facebook. There's so much of it that I've been done. I've livicated, as the Rastamans say, instead of dedicated. I've livicated my life to bringing forth these emblems, whether it be the ankh that you see me have here, whether it be, let's say, this ring that I'm wearing, that I copied the roof of one of the churches at Lalibela, the church of Beat Georgis, known as the Church of St. George, who, by the way, is equated with Heru in the Kemetic culture. This equilateral cross here is the one that we should be wearing. This is symbolic of the four directions, north, east, west, and south. It's also known as the cross of Amsu Heru, the resurrected Christ in our ancient Kemetic legacy. Oh, I know you all didn't know that the Kemetic people had a Christ, did you? You did not know that we had a resurrected Savior by the name of Asar, who they now call Osiris. So I encourage us to get into knowledge of who we are, knowledge of our legacy, and wear it proudly. Here, and a lot of brothers are afraid to wear big things. They say, hey man, somebody may try to rip me off. But let me tell you something. These emblems, people tend to get a little spooked about them, so you don't have to worry about people stealing them. I've known people whose homes have been burglarized, and they only leave my stuff. They take everything, it's all the other jewelry that people have in their jewelry boxes. About 3 times since I've been doing this, I've been told that they leave these emblems alone. Why? Because First of all, a lot of us are superstitious. You know what Stevie Wonder said about superstition. And so a lot of us are afraid of these things, but once you know what it is, then you will wear it proudly and protectively. We call it Sa. Sa in our legacy means protection. And so what do we mean by protection? How can a ring protect you? Well, when you look at it, when you put it on in the morning or in the evening, whenever you wear it, it reminds you of a divine and positive principle. And you protect your spirit by tapping into the power of our ancestral symbology. I want to share with you a couple of emblems. Like, for instance, you see this ankh here. This is a pendant of, you see the hand holding the ankh. That I will entitle as a determination to live. I call it holding on to life. And that's something that all of us must be about. Our young brothers are being shot down in the streets now, and we need to meditate on holding on to our lives and doing those things that will promote our life. I also make some protest jewelry. For instance, here is Africa, an African face locked inside the outline of America. Many of us have felt that this has been our condition, but we're breaking out of that negative view of our condition, and we are announcing that we are a free people. Okay. I reach back into the 18th dynasty, and here is an emblem of Nefertiti's husband, Atenre-Akun. They call him Aknadin. Okay. Notice that the headdress and everything is in silver, but I put his face in rose gold in order to tap into that solar energy. Okay. Here is the emblem of Smai-Tawi. I wear this sometimes when I want to be really bold. It incorporates these blossoms you see here of Upper and Lower Kemet, the lotus and the papyrus, wrapped around the symbol of the trachea and the lungs, symbolizing that unity is the emblem of our culture. You see the ma'at feathers on the both sides of it here. The ma'at feathers are a symbol of truth, righteousness, balance, and order. You see the eyes of Heru, the right and the left eye, symbolizing the eyes of the sun and the moon. Our ancestors were very powerful in their symbology. At the very top, you will see the wings of Heru Behutet. These wings are above the doorways of every temple in Kemet. So the work that I do connects us to a legacy that many people have been trying to deny is an African culture. They always saying that, well, the pyramids were built by people who came from outer space. Yeah, we did. And if you doubt me, you go to Kemet and you'll see that the temples that we built were oriented to certain stars, because we always considered ourselves as a cosmic as well as earthly. We were celestial as well as terrestrial beings. That's why we call ourselves Af-Ra-Khan. Af, the flesh, Ra, the hidden sun, Ka, the soul, with the flesh and the soul of the hidden sun. There is a concept known as panspermia, which says that the whole universe is filled with living matter, living substance, okay, and that our kau, our soul, streamed from the cosmic realm to this earth. One day, the essence that made you was breathed in by your mother and went to her egg. The essence that made you was breathed in by your father and went to his prostate gland. And then here you came, a result of a traveler through time and space. I know it sounds spooky, but you all believe in Captain Kirk. Well, we were pre-Kirk. We were pre-Captain Kirk, because we said that our father Asa, the first man on earth, was spawned on the constellation of Ptah, known as Orion, and that our beloved mother, Ast, was spawned on the star Seperet, which they call Sirius today. The Dogon call it Potolo, the seed star. You see, so our ancestors always identified themselves with solar energy. We said that we were the Rethu Ra, or the Rechu Ra, the people of the sun. You see, we always identified with solar energy. So we have to claim our cosmic, our celestial, as well as our terrestrial origin. Okay, now I also create these pendulums. Now, it's an art to know how to use a pendulum to get a certain reading. You have to go into a place of neutrality so you do not put any of your desires to affect the outcome. And pendulums, I have all kinds. This one is made of silver. Silver has the highest electromagnetic conductivity of all the metals, higher than gold, higher than copper. And this is a great healing tool for diagnosing. Sometimes I'll tell someone to spread their fingers, and the thumb would be earth. The index finger, this one would be water. The middle finger would be fire. The fourth finger would be air, and the pinky would be spirit or ether. And you can see, I'm blessed. Hey, mine are going in the positive direction. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. Look at my fire, y'all. And check my water. Yeah, I stay in my alkaline water, so I hydrate a lot. Something we should do more of instead of drinking sodas and all those sweet drinks. And you got to be grounded. The thumb is an indication of you're being grounded. And this is associated with the divine principle of Set. You see? Set is not necessarily evil. Sometimes you have to have gravity. You have to sit down sometimes and ground yourself. Now, look at this eye of Heru. A brother bought this as a wedding band. His queen said, I need to put an engagement ring on you. So I designed this ring where the engagement ring comes out. Look. See? So he'll wear this, and usually I will put his wife's birthstone in the eyeball, right? So that she can keep an eye on him wherever he goes. And on the day of the marriage, we will take the eye and put it between the lid and the upper lid and the lower lid, like that. You see, so now we have a complete eye. And notice I have the eyebrows has diamonds up here and diamonds on the lower lid. All right? And to the side, to hold the outsert together. I call this the outsert, and I call this the insert, you see? And you see, the outsert is held together by ankhs and the feathers of ma'at, which means living in truth. So this ring here, this wedding band here, which includes a man-gagement ring and the enclosure that holds it together with the ankh and ma'at, indicates that he's living in truth. So a man getting married with a ring like this, it binds him to mean what he says, that he's living in truth. And stop lying to your woman because she can figure it out, okay? Now, for instance here, for our beloved sisters, look at this. I call this the leaves of life, all right? And the leaves, we have the ankh in the center, and we have the leaves around it. The leaves around it in yellow gold, and the center is in white gold. And we can take this out, and this, she can wear this as her engagement ring, see? And on the day of the wedding, she comes to the altar with her fingers bare, and he will take the engagement ring and marry the engagement ring to the wedding band like this. See? And there you have the whole the whole band. And I have several like that. And if you go on the website, studioofptah.com, you will see several. We call these the two becomes one. And that really has a lot of meaning, because two powers, masculine and feminine, come together to create a oneness in marriage. Emblems like the Merkutu, the pyramid. See, this is a work in progress. It has not yet been polished, but you see to the side I have the symbols of life eternal, the Ankh, and on top we have the Merkutu, the pyramid. Now this, when you wear a ring like this, people say, oh, that's a weapon. But you will never use these emblems of culture to harm anyone. But the truth is, someone looking at you wearing a ring like this would think twice of trying to mess with you. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing cuffs, the eyes of Heru, all right? And here is one. Here's another one that, these are very heavy. You see the eye of Heru in the front here, and look on the back how I terminated it with the feathers of Ma'at, so that you will have true vision, okay? So these are wearable meditations, so it has a meaning above and beyond the beauty. It does something for your spirit when you put it on, okay? Some time ago we had the Black Power Awards, and I had designed the award for the Black Power Awards ceremony, and so I decided to also make a pendant of it. All right, you see the hand holding up the symbol of life, and on the stem of the symbol of life you see the Ma'at feather, and the very top, what we call the bail, where we put the chain through, it has the Ankh in the center and the Ma'at feathers on the side. Living in truth is a theme in a lot of the designs that I make, because that is something that we must reclaim. Because to tell you the truth, those of us who seek to deny our Africanity are really living a lie, because from the anthropological information, it shows that all life on this plane began on that continent. Yes, it may have once been the land masses were together, but when they separated, when the anthropologists went looking for the origin of humanity on Earth, they found the oldest record on the continent, which we now call Africa. I call it Afrika, because I don't like that word. Frik means in Arabic means to separate or to divide, and of course they should know, because they've divided north of the Sahara with Arab colonies. However, we are seeking to claim all of the experience, even though they try to put the place that now is called Egypt in the so-called Middle East. Have you ever heard of the Middle South or the Middle North or the Middle West? But this so-called Middle East was created to deny the Africanity of the people of that region. Okay, now here's a priestly ankh that I'm creating for a brother. He can give a whole lecture with this key alone, all right? And up here at the top, we have the emblem of Khepera, the scarab, in that circle there. We see it being held together in the womb with the papyrus blossom of the northern region of the land and the lotus blossom of the southern region. Now, the papyrus and the lotus has more connotations than just the geographical north and south of the continent or of the Nile Valley. It applies to the left and right brain hemispheres and their functions. We all know that the left side is constituted to be of the brain is the male, and the right side is the female. So we equate the left side with where we have the papyrus with intellect, with writing, mathematics, all that, the practical things. And here we have, on this side, we have the intuition, okay? And that inner sight that so many of our women have. You know, they can look at us and tell you when you're lying, okay? To the reverse side here, we have the same thing repeated. But on this side, we have, on the circle up here, we have ma'at. Okay? Righteousness, balance, order, truth. That this symbol of righteousness is a woman. Okay? And the delicate balance it takes to maintain yourself in a place of truth is a very, very profound message for our people. Look here at the stem going up of the womb of the Ankh. I have the Ma'at feathers again. On both sides, they're repeated. See? Here and here. Across here, these are the wings of Heru Behutet. All of the temples in Kemet, in the Nile Valley, going up to the land of Kush, Ethiopia, where we still have some Kemetic temples, the ruins thereof, you will see these wings. And I think in the book, was it of Isaiah? I think it says in the Bible, it says, "Ho to the land shadowed with wings." Who's that land shadowed with wings? All the temples having wings. It's in the Nile Valley. It's called the wings of Heru Behutet, and they say that these wings are meant to drive away evil forces from the temple. Okay? On the side here, inside with these wings, I placed the emblem of the bird known as the ibis bird that is symbolic of divine wisdom. This is Chehuti here. And Chehuti, this little bird, Chehuti, is standing in front of the feather of Ma'at, because Ma'at and Chehuti work together. We have universal wisdom and universal truth working together, which is emblematic in the Metu Neter, or the sacred writing that is called hieroglyphics today. Okay? Now, if you look here, we have the 4 sons of Heru. Now, these called the Mesu Heru. In the resting places of our ancestors, they found 4 jars. They called them canopic jars. And in these jars, they preserved the lungs, symbolized by Hapi up here, the small intestines, known as Kepsenuf, the liver was guarded by a deity called Imset, and the stomach and large intestine by a deity known as Guamutef. And these 4 sons of Heru, or the children of Heru, were in turn guarded by female powers which protected them. Okay, now why did our ancestors preserve these organs in sealed jars, wrapped sometimes in hundreds of yards of fine linen? They were saying to us that we must preserve these organs in life. Okay, so they use death to remind us to take care of our body. I know a lot of us are now concerned about whether we're going to have medical coverage or not, because people are trying to take all the medical coverage away from people. But guess what? If you take care of yourself, you wouldn't have to worry too much about getting ill. All right? So we have a duty, because there are some people who are now getting on the cutting edge of the raw food emergence of this raw food diet and vegan diet. And I always say, some of these folks are trying to get well to give us more hell. So we better get with it and stop eating the garbage that we've been eating. We call it soul food. I spell it S-O-L-E. Some of the food that we're eating should be trampled under our feet and should never enter into our divine body temples. So these emblems, and here we have at the very bottom, we have the emblem of Ptah. Ptah is the netter of crafts. All the craftsmen, all of the builders of the temples were consecrated to the guild of Ptah, and they worked in the Mench Ptah, in the workshop of Ptah. So here is this emblem of Ptah. By the way, Ptah is the one that they use to steal the copy to make the Oscar from, okay? But this is the original from which they took the Oscar. This is known as Ptah, the netter of the craftsman. And Ptah appears in the Bible as Peter, of whom they said, "Upon this rock I will build my church." It's amazing that she used a rock, because the people who were consecrated to Ptah, as craftspeople, were the ones who carved in stone. Okay? And so this is a very important principle in our legacy. And Ptah is holding the staff of power, having a jed column of stability and an ankh for life eternal on top of it, with the was symbol of dominion coming out of the womb of the ankh. Now, I'm talking some stuff and using terminologies, and many of you may say, what did he say? Well, guess what? This information has been available to us for a long time. And I need to say that here in the West, many of us have more knowledge of our African culture than our brothers and sisters on the continent today. Why? Because a job was done on both of us. Okay? They stole so many of our artifacts and put them into museums. All right? And a lot of us are intimidated by these museums because they make it so difficult. They have all these glass cases you can't see, you can't touch anything, which is a good thing because the oil in our fingers can deface and erase a lot of the details of the art. But the fact is, we ought to be grateful that even though they stole so much from the continent and put it in museums, if we didn't have it there, we wouldn't be inspired. Because when I was learning the craft of creating joy ari, that's what I call it. They call it jewelry, I call it joy ari, because it gives me joy to create. Because ari means to do, to make, or to create. I used to go to the museums and I used to look in the glass cases at the fine detail, because I'm into details. You know why? Because we as a people, we appreciate art. And I know that some of my folks, when they buy my stuff, they buy microscopes in order to look at the detail. They buy all kind of things because we become very critical when we deal with each other. We're looking for all kind of little errors. So I've coined a term what I call my perfect imperfections, because all artists are pursuing perfection, but it's a very elusive quality. But that doesn't mean we should stop. When I was younger, I used to get mad at people when they criticized my work. See that you need to put a little bit more up on that side over there. I used to get so mad because my pride was involved. But as I grew older, I realized that my people were judging my work in order for me to become better. And I'm so grateful to them now that I'm what they would call an elder. My wisdom has taught me that because of their demand for perfection, it made me a better artist. So I want to thank all of those folks who used to criticize my my older works. One brother came in here, he says, where are all those old molds you have? I said, well, brother, I suspended them. He said, no, you shouldn't have done that because that shows your growth, my brother. And he's right. So I'm going to pull out some of my old stuff. And one day I really want to put my works inside of a book, because I'm telling you, brothers and sisters out here, if you don't come and get some of my stuff now, I don't know where you're going to get this kind of work in the future, because so many of us are running away from ourselves, running away from who we are. We have allowed people to put a new personality into our consciousness, and it's our sacred duty to fight against that and to assert the respect for our source, respect for our ancestors who live in us. You see, the ancestors are not something that's away from us. We are the ancestors returning. There's a cycle, there's a wheel of time. We come and we go, we come and we go. And so it never stops. Life is eternal. That's the meaning of the Ankh. And I need to say that in this time when we are so surrounded by death and violence that we do to each other, we need to affirm life. So I say life to you brothers in Chicago. Stop killing each other. Life to you brothers in South Central. Stop killing each other. Uphold this sign of life. Erykah Badu, when she came out with her first album, Baduism, the Ankh was prominently displayed, and you all know that she wore the Ankh rings that I made for her for years, and she's still wearing them. Of course, she says she designed them, which is all right. I don't mind. But I'm glad that she has helped to despook people about this divine symbol. Because you see, many people say, oh, that's a pagan symbol. Or that's a heathen symbol. Oh, really? Well, if the ancient Kemetic people, who are now called Egyptian, were pagan and heathen, why did Abraham and Sarah come in there? Why did Moses allow himself to be taught by these pagans and heathens? Why did Yeshua, who's now miscalled Jesus, why did his mother bring him at the age of 12 into the land of Kemet, now miscalled Egypt, if these people were so pagan and heathenish? You see, so a lot of lies have been told because Western man has a schizoid relationship with ancient Kemet. After you consider all of the noses and the lips that have been chipped to hide the origin of these people, these same people who deny the greatness of these people of the Nile are trying to claim it. They make movies painting themselves in the picture. I need to remind them at the time there was no sunblock. Okay? Anyway, this emblem of Ankh is back, and it's not going to be a fad anymore because this emblem came back in the 60s. We were wearing the Ankh, and then it went to sleep because other people started to wear our dashikis around their swimming pools. So when we saw them taking our dashikis to wear as a sport garment, we pulled away from it. If we continued to create our dashikis, continued to make our garments, we would be in a much better place of respect for ourselves today. But we pay big money to wear the name of slave makers on our chest, feet, and behind. And we really ought to be embarrassed about that. We should be getting our brothers and sisters who they deny employment in the fashion industry. Let them make our garments for us. If we are not able to afford a pair of pants because it costs $100, $150 for a sister or a brother to make a pair of garments, a pair of pants for us, let us spend that money with our brothers and sisters rather than go and get it, which costs about $5 overseas where it was made, and over here you're paying $250 and you're getting in a line in order to be able to buy it. You're getting a line to buy sneakers with people's names on it that are not made by your own people. We should have the sneaker factory since we love sneakers so much. We should own sneaker factories. So these are some of the things I'm trying to encourage our brothers and sisters to do, and that's why I'm so much into the craft. And I support other craftspeople too, because we have to stick together in order to grow respect for our culture. So these are some of the things I wanted to share with my people today. Please go to my website, studioofptah.com. And look, you're looking for wedding bands, engagement rings, tell your brothers and sisters about it, please, so that they can come and see what I have to offer, what we have to offer, because this is not a one-man show. I work for my son. I'm an unpaid laborer because my son is the one who owns this. So I want to thank you all so much for your attention. Also, I want to remind you that I'm on Facebook as Baba Heru Speaks, and on Instagram as BabaHeru_creates. On Facebook, I'll be doing some short messages. Some I've done already from the Book of the Coming Forth, willfully mislabeled the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And I'll be doing a few more on Facebook, very short and concise items that I want to share, of knowledge that I want to share with my brothers and sisters. And on Instagram, you'll see from time to time I'll be posting some of the designs I'm coming up with for our people. So I want to thank you very much. So go to Baba Heru Speaks on Facebook, friend me, and hey, I've got a lot of friends, and I'm so grateful for your friendship. I've got a lot of you who check on me on Instagram, and you inundate me with your likes, and I'm so thankful. But I want you to begin to inundate me with some sales. Thank you so much. I was threatening to unfriend half of you if you do not support me. If you're my friend, then support this work, please. Do I have to beg you, brothers and sisters? I don't think I should have to. Ankh and Ma'at, live in truth.